like there's no tomorrow.
Welcome to the BingKing podcast.
1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. I have Andrew here with me. How's everyone doing? Andrew, how are you?
Hey, very good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I usually tell my guests that I haven't seen them in a while, but I see you like probably once a week.
Yeah, once a week,
At least
every couple
twice,
weeks.
Yeah, every couple of weeks I see you. How's everything?
Good. It's good. Thanks for having me on your podcast today. It's a very nice studio, and
It's just my living room.
it's very. I see you put a lot of work and effort into
Thank
it.
you. I did.
Very nice.
This is my third year doing this. It's a
Oh,
long time.
wow.
Yeah.
How do you try to be consistent? Like you try to do like one a week, or
Yeah, I do one a week.
One a week.
And I try to get just people that I'm interested in.
Right.
You know? Usually, like, it's someone that does something that I also do and is better than me at that thing.
Okay.
And I try to get like a free lesson out of them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
It's almost like a
Right?
little free education,
Yeah.
kind
I
of.
think even if I don't make
personal
money,
growth.
even if I don't make money off of this, like, there's so much value in just talking to people that are better than me.
Also, I noticed like sometimes, like for me, we're so used to like short form messaging that like having a long form conversation, like you have to kind of do it all the time to practice. Like it's kind of a workout for your mind, Because I had a video call. I have a video call with a couple of my friends like back home, like once every like month or so.
Yeah.
And then before you know, we're talking for like an hour and a half, and then
It's great.
we're just talking. Yeah, we're talking about all sorts of stuff, right? And then, but the way you have to put sentences into long, coherent messages for them, it's like almost like jogging from my mind,
Yeah.
Whereas today, most of the time, it's just like you read short things, you're replying as short as you can, So it's actually, personally, it's almost kind of a mental exercise.
Yeah,
It's
I
nice.
completely agree. I think it's important because a lot of people also don't really listen to what you say sometimes. And it's nice to just be like here in the moment, because at any point, like outside of this, I have people just...
Cell phones.
Yeah, cell phone. Immediately cell phone. And then you can kind of tell when they're like drifting, and then you're like, oh.
When you get a lot of like,
Yeah, right. One of those.
yeah. Uh-huh. Exactly, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, they're not really listening to me anymore.
Yeah.
And people check out a lot faster than I think when we were kids.
Oh, for sure. I think now just getting away from my phone is almost
Impossible.
it's impossible. But when you do put it down, you do, you exercise or you do something else, you go on a run or be outdoors. It's just so almost resets the mind a little bit.
Yeah, it has to, right? So I got you here because you're one of the most fit people I know. You got to be. You're high up on my list.
Okay, thank you.
Right?
I think it's just genetics. I don't know. I just look fit. I don't think I'm that fit, but I try my best.
I want to know, like, since you're in this industry, what do you see? What are the trends that are here? Either globally or at least in China. Like, what do you see?
Yeah, I think the market in China is probably a little bit different than the rest of the world, just especially Shanghai, right? Because it's such a compact city, and you're always fighting to get your rent paid, for everything. So I think after COVID, mostly what I see is that a lot of the big commercial gyms are kind of downsizing.
They're struggling.
They're really shrinking their operations, and now what works are more like middle size or smaller size kind of fitness spaces where they're able to generate more revenue per customer rather than do like a really big, liansuo, like franchise gym. So in general, I think for most people still, like, the places you work out, it's got to be close to work or close to home. It's all about personal convenience. And now there's more of a kind of detail to building a personal like fitness program, like almost, whereas before it'd be like, oh, I got to get a one-on-one trainer. Now there's more like 1-on-4 small group or like 1-on-2, that kind of stuff. Just
why do you think that is?
I think maybe in general people are just more kind of more budget sensitive, maybe.
Do you think it's budget, or do you think it's social?
It could be social too. Yeah, I think so too. Because like maybe if you're training with a friend and then you have like a trainer, it's just more, you know, it's like when you go on vacation with 2 people versus 3.
Right.
It's like a whole, like that extra person
makes a difference.
Is just a kind of a whole nother dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I know I personally like I train, like I'll train harder if I'm training with a buddy, you know, like it's just, I think they did a study on that like before, like when you have one person working out in a room versus 3 or 4, like the people that are with a group will give up like it'll take longer for them to give up, you know, fatigue and stuff.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I think just in general, you know, fitness is more now like kind of also like a social thing now. So you want to be part of more of a group dynamic kind of class rather than just you and then the personal trainer, because then it's just one-on-one banter, which is nice sometimes, but when you have that kind of group, I think after COVID, when you have that kind of group kind of feel good energy, it's more serotonin for your brain. And
I talked to one of the guys that work at ClassPass.
Okay, cool.
And he's telling me, and he's been telling me, that people don't date at restaurants anymore. Like the trend is to meet at like a fitness thing or like an event, you know?
Yeah.
The restaurant, like, or dinner and a movie thing is like gone.
It's gone.
People don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you just look at restaurants, people are on their phones, you know, most of the time.
Yep.
So it's like, also in general, like better thoughts come to you when you're moving around. Like at least for me,
Really?
like
I don't have that.
No, like I like at least for me, I'm able to like be more fluid in speech and everything when I'm like walking and talking, rather than like sitting down. And if you're just sitting down at dinner, you're like waiting for the next thought to come in the middle of the conversation. Whereas I think if your body's in movement, like different kind of, your mind is more fluid. It's like you're almost primed to kind of talk a little bit.
I get my best thoughts in the shower, almost always. Like I think my most important, most poignant thoughts are always in the bathroom. Like
in the shower, very good.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I think because you go into that kind of relaxed, focused state. It's like a focused relaxation.
But not like swimming. Like when I'm swimming, I'm like...
No, you can't be doing swimming, no. There's no way. But like next time when you have a conversation on the phone with someone, just try like walking in the courtyard and talking. Time will go like that. Okay, what I want to say is that you get less hung up on words. Like you'll stutter less. You'll because I think your body is moving. Also, your senses are more fluid. They're kind of moving as well. You don't get like.
It's weird because when I have.
I think it depends on the people too, the person too.
Yeah.
At least for me, that's what I noticed.
But like on a business call, I'll sit down always. Like, okay. Even if it's like a friendly business call, I'll be like, no, I'm gonna sit down. Like I think because
you don't want to be distracted. You want to give them undivided attention, right?
So I'm always like. Even like when I'm with friends, like if this is important, I need to like shut everything off and sit down.
Right.
I can't work from home. Like whenever I work from home, like I get nothing done.
Oh, nothing.
But I need to like, once I get into like, okay, this is my work space. And then my mind is like, oh, you're at work. Like you need to like focus on this.
Yeah. I'm the kind of guy, if I was in the States right now, they had work from home. I would get nothing done. I got to be forced to focus a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. But I think like it just depends on your personality and like your work style. I think it works for some people, you know, but other times, like for me, like just getting out of the house, going to cafe, like where we met earlier. Right. Just getting the coffee, sitting down with your thoughts. Useful. It's super good to have focus. Because maybe, I don't know, it's also probably because like if your home is more for relaxation, you're always in that relaxation zone. Right. So your mind is kind of conditioned to be like, this is the place to chill. I mean, you do your podcast here.
I never come into this space. I never crossed that line.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good because then you make this area of space exclusively for these conversations, you know?
Yeah. But I guess what I was trying to get at is for the trends that are going here, I think a lot of people are kind of confused on like what to train. You know?
Right.
So a lot of friends of my friends, they're rock climbers, they're jujitsu people, boxing. They're just getting into boxing, and they don't really train anything other than that their sport. So I think that's a lot. There's like a lot of like skill stuff going on right now. But
skill
then
stuff,
the fitness, the basic fitness stuff is kind of getting left out. Is how I'm feeling. Whether it's strength training, mobility, there's all this stuff that's kind of getting left out because everyone wants to do the fun skill training.
Yes, skill specific. They want to get better. They want to see improvements.
And they're not doing like the basics. They're not stretching enough. They're not working out on basic like motor function. And they're just doing like skill-based stuff. Right.
I would say, I mean, for the most part, like if you're just trying to get hypertrophy, that's like when you're just starting, that's pretty hard to mess up. Like if you're doing any sort of program,
you'll go straight up.
You get the newbie gains and everything, 6 to 12 rep range, do your exercises and then get adequate recovery, right? If you're just doing hypertrophy, then just go hit the gym, do the machines, do some do the basic compound lifts. I mean, I think compound lifts are in general like very important, are probably the most important.
Essential,
because as you get older, like your joints are gonna get a little bit weaker, your bones are gonna get weaker, so you need the muscle to kind of
hold you together.
And for most people, like starting with just the good correct form and progressive overload on compound lifting will have the most benefits.
Right.
And in terms of if you're doing like skill specific sports like jiu-jitsu or rock climbing, I would say for the mobility part, you want to, whatever you're doing in the weight room should be you should do things that will accentuate your skill, but also things that balance out your skill. For example, if you're
that's everything, by the way.
Yeah, that's everything. Exactly. Right. So like for example, however, like if I was training my legs, like for strength and pushing off, I need to make sure the front and the back are balanced, right? So if you're training your quads a lot, you got to make sure your hamstrings, your glutes, everything is firing, but also stretching to maintain mobility, because mobility is you're only gonna lose it. You're not gonna wake up one day and just be like, oh, I'm feeling extra mobile today.
I get you.
It's one of those things like you have to work on to maintain. So that actually, I think for most people, they're a little bit lazy to do the mobility stuff
because it's boring.
It's boring, yeah. If they're already doing a bunch of strength training, they're doing a bunch of sports and everything. But in general, I think training your core, your trunk stability is very important. Also, if you're doing a lot of rock climbing, it's a lot of gripping this way. So you gotta really relax like your forearms and everything, and also like get a massage. Basically your muscles will get super tense and it'll get wound up in the fascia. So you got to make sure you're recovering properly if you want to be able to do it, long term.
I think that's a huge problem. I think a lot of people now, they get into their sport, whether it be any sport, and they get those, like we said before, newbie gains, right? They start improving and they're like, wow, I'm great at this sport. I'm doing really well. And then they want to keep those gains going. But I think the problem is once they kind of level off.
Plateau?
Once they plateau, they want to keep doing that sport harder, as opposed to being like, oh, well, maybe I need to add in strength training. Maybe I need to add in flexibility or mobility or something else. They're just like, if I want to BJJ, I want to BJJ harder, instead of, well, maybe I should work on these other parts that I'm kind of lacking. If I'm playing like a really good BJJ guard
Yeah.
Maybe work on your flexibility a little bit more. That'll improve your BJJ. But I think people are just like, no, I'll just go to like, instead of 3 classes, I'm going to go to 4 classes of BJJ and stuff like that. And I find that a lot of people just want to keep going, just keep pressing that button instead of being like, let's step back. Maybe I need to work on other things instead of just this skill.
Right.
That's how I'm seeing it.
No. I think you're right, because a lot of the time they take just kind of the turbo approach. They're just going to go hit it harder.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you got to take a step back to kind of, maybe you're not as good right now because you got to take some time to get more mobility or let your body recover. But then, like, we're used to seeing like we want linear progress all the time,
which is impossible.
Right? Yeah, but sometimes you got to go a little bit, take a step back so you can go forward again.
Yeah.
So I think that's just
how do you convince people of that? Because it's, to me, it's I tell all of my friends that, and I can't convince people to be like, well, maybe we need to like back up a little bit. And people are like, no, I just need to climb more. Like, instead of 3 times a week, I'm going to climb 5 times a week. Like that. It doesn't work like that. Like, sometimes you need to just back off, relax. I always find that if I take time off and then I come back into the sport, I'm better at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Naturally better.
I think, I mean, if they're going to learn the hard way, it's usually because they get injured or something, you know, like
someone ends up injured.
That's when they're like, oh, well, there's all this stretching, like I can only do this stretching stuff and mobility stuff now. But a lot of times, like if they have someone that is better than them, maybe if they have a mentor, they can learn from, you know, the tutelage of someone that's like better, right? And seeing what they're doing for their routine, because sometimes you got to work smarter, not harder, right? And specifically, like even for jiu-jitsu, like your muscles are getting tighter and tighter unless you're relaxing them. But
your spine's just getting crushed every day, and you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah. So I think, but in general for jiu-jitsu, like our mutual friend, you know, Matt, like Matt Hunter, I think he has a very good like philosophy for training where he's doing jiu-jitsu, but then the weight training that he's doing is more eccentric focus, because that's what, I mean, for the most part, they're the kind of strength they're using is not necessarily all explosive, but it's more like he's so smart. But it's more like your muscles have to have the endurance to slowly fire, rather than training like explosive bench presses, you know. So,
but shouldn't you just do both? Like there's so many things that I feel like you should do the slow. Like I do slow push-ups every morning. I just do 15 count push-ups up and down. Just constantly 15 count. Yeah.
Okay, that's
just
very
all
good,
the way down nice and slow, and then all the way up nice and slow.
Yeah.
And I do slow, but then I'm like, maybe I should just do like explosive push-ups. Like I feel like you should train both, which was what I was getting at. I was like, people don't know what to train. Like you should kind of train a little bit of everything.
I would say if you're trying to get to like very high levels of a specific sport, then that's not the case.
Okay.
Because like your muscles, like they can, most of them they're fast twitch or slow twitch, and then some of them can like change over, right? So there's like certain crossovers. But if you're trying to get really good at something, I think that you need to like condition your body to be a machine, to be really good at that one thing. But if you're just the casual, you know, you like to do lots of things, then yes, you should do slow, you should do fast, because if you're going to play fast explosive sports, you need to be able to push off, you know, with your hands.
So that's your way of saying depends on your goals.
Depends on your goals, exactly. Exactly. Depends on your goals.
I hate that answer because that's what everyone says. Right? Yeah. Everyone says, when I ask them what should I train, they're like, depends on your goals. And I understand that logic.
Yeah.
I think 90+% of people need to train like a casual. Like, you look at all of the people in the jiu-jitsu gym, they're not winning ADCC, all right? They're not going to Worlds. They are the casual BJJ player. But they think that they're going to Worlds.
They train like
they train like they're going to Worlds. And I'm like, guys, we're not making money off of this. Like, you can... And I I try to communicate that, and people don't get it. They're like, no, the BJJ is life, and I'm like, you're maybe like you're not gonna. You might be doing this until 60, maybe even 70, but like the damage that it does to your body sometimes, it's just why, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it depends on also how long are you trying to do
Yeah.
it for. You know, if you're
Yeah.
trying to do it for till you're 70, you need to have maybe more of a kind of
A long-term plan.
long-term plan rather than just a short burst of I'm going to hit it super hard.
I always find that that's our current society's big problem is that I want results now and I want linear growth now. Like
Linear or exponential.
Yeah. And I'm just like, guys, there's a long-term thing here that you're not seeing. And everyone's just like, no, I want to keep improving. And I want to always see growth. I'm like, nothing in this world does that. Like, nature is not exponential growth. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, everything's going to come in waves.
Right.
And I don't understand that. Everyone is like, I need consistent growth.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's social media, what you see on Instagram and Redbooks.
Yeah.
Like, you're always like comparing yourself to those
right.
other people.
That's true.
And so when you see that, you know, they're getting all these gains and, you know, they're working that hard, you know, like you feel like you need to keep up, you know.
I'm sure you've hit hiccups like during your yoga journey.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, how did you get over those?
In general, like I would, like you said, I used to do a lot of back bending for yoga and stuff, and my back wasn't feeling good, and it took like until it really hurt for a while. I'm like, oh, I need to slow down.
Almost injury, like close to injury. And you're like, oh, this. I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm going the wrong way. So that's when I went more of a balance into I'm doing more strength training, more trunk stability, but still maintaining mobility. Because I think it's like all about, like we said, your goals, right? And my goals, like when I'm 60, 70, I still want to be able to strength train. I want to be mobile. I want to do sports. I want to go on adventures, you know?
I'm the same way. Yeah.
So I think for the casual person trying to just be healthy, it's like you need to find that balance of kind of, I mean, it sounds corny, but the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And in general, like if you like, I want to be able to do things and get into a flow state when I'm older. Yeah. You know, physically. I mean, but you can do that, you know, through lots of things. You know, running, tennis, lots of sports, swimming. You know, swimming. There's people doing swimming till they're 80.
Way late. Yeah.
Way late.
I love it. I see those old men when I was a kid at the YMCA. They're in there at 6:30, like.
Whoa.
Early, and they're right when the YMCA opens, like they're the first ones in the pool, and I'm like, you're amazing. Like those old men are like, they're gonna be healthy forever.
I think they probably feel just way better after they're done swimming to start the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I whenever I sweat, I'm getting sweaty doing something, working out. I feel way better. Like
me too.
Starting the day, it's almost like your body's like secreting these, you know, chemicals and different neurotransmitters, feel good chemicals for you to almost kickstart your day. So.
I mean, I've started morning meditation instead of nighttime. I used to do right before bed 10 minutes. Yeah. And I would just do my basic breathing exercise before bed.
Okay, tell me what kind of breathing
exercise you do. 8 count in, hold 8 count, 8 count out, hold 8 count.
Okay, box breathing.
Box breathing, but for 8 seconds. Yeah. And I do that for 10 minutes right before bed. I used to for years, 2 years, nonstop.
Really good. Do you sleep really well? You find you sleep better?
I sleep great. But now I've been doing it in the morning. Yeah. And I really like it in the morning. Like it focuses you. You wake up. It's the first thing I do when I wake up. I just put on 10 minutes and then I do it first thing in the morning. And it wakes me up. I'm like good for the morning. Like I'm ready until like around 2, and then I get a little bit sleepy.
And then you get a coffee and
I don't always get a coffee. I'm actually trying to lay off the coffee recently. Yeah.
Nice.
But the morning meditation I found really works for me.
Yeah, I think just even just after you wake up in the morning, when you're like, there's all this CO2 and everything that's, you know, from the night before. Okay. Maybe you slept in the wrong position or,
that happens.
You know. So I feel like almost in the morning when you do that, it's like a metronome. You're like resetting the instrument, your breathing rhythm for the day, you know?
I like it. I think it's great. And then I do some stretches just to kind of get mobile after that.
Yeah.
You know?
So actually stretching, in the morning or at night is, at night maybe, I mean, at night you should do kind of more low-key stretches.
Okay.
But like if you think about it, when you're sleeping, you're all like curled up.
Yeah.
Your muscles are shortening like during sleep.
Yeah.
Like you're basically not moving, so your muscles are all, the lengths of your muscles are all tightening.
Right.
So you can either do in the morning to kind of reset the muscle length for the day, and you're kind of limber for the day, or you do it right before bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you do both, or what do you do?
No, it depends on if you're trying to work out in the morning. If you're trying to do strength training in the morning, you don't really want to stretch your muscles statically.
Okay.
Before, like, you want to do more active dynamic stretching to kind of warm them up. Like if you're doing static stretching, it's kind of counterintuitive. It's like I wouldn't stretch my hamstrings too much before I'm trying to do like hamstring curls or anything.
That's interesting, because I've heard that.
Yeah.
And that's a more recent thing, because from when I was a kid, all of my coaches did static stretch before workouts. Always. Dryland, we would always do static stretches.
Okay.
Hold everything 20, 30 seconds from, head to toe, splits,
But you're talking about for swimming, right?
But then we would also do weight training before swimming as well.
Oh, okay. You do weight training before
swimming.
And
even before weight training, we would do static stretches. That was when I was like,
I think when you're a kid,
it doesn't really matter.
You can do whatever the hell you want.
And be okay, yeah.
And be like perfectly fine.
And I think it's only recently that I've heard you should active stretch before weight training. And I was like, even now, static stretch before weight training.
Yeah.
And, I do all of my stretches. I have a routine. And
no, it's fine to do. I'm not saying like you're not going to get, injured by doing that. But I'm saying if you're trying to get maximum power out of the muscles, hit like PRs or, hit personal 5-rep max records or something, like you don't want to stretch too much statically right before, because then basically you're telling the muscle like, hey, chill out, loosen up. And then right after, you're telling your muscle like, hey, fire and contract really hard, which is hard for your like nervous system to kind of.
Is that the logic behind it?
That's the logic, yeah.
Okay.
Because your central nervous system, like when you're static stretching, it's like, okay, parasympathetic system, you're kind of chilled out, letting the nervous system and muscle connection kind of chill out. And then after, if you're trying to use the muscle, like those muscle fibers are shortening, and you're telling it to go into like sympathetic mode, like, hey, fire as hard as you can. You got to think about like it as like electrical signals, really. Like if you're stretching the muscle too much, like right beforehand, it's harder for your mind muscle connection to fire as hard, So
you do active stretching, kind of just move them.
Kind of get movement. Get movement. But in general, it's like you want to do, like we said, dynamic stretching. And also maybe even like a warm environment, kind of get your heart rate up, and then start to go into your main exercise.
I don't do any of that. Like I do my warm up. Then I do my static stretch routine, and then I get into like my main sets.
Okay.
And that's how I've done since I was like real little, and almost 40, still doing okay.
Still doing good.
Yeah. So
still doing good.
That's usually how I go, but I get very warmed up. Like I do a 10, 15, 20 minute warm up if I have to, just to get that sweat going, and then I do the stretch.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah. If you look at like NFL players, they're warming up for like an hour.
Yeah.
They're not trying to like get
they're not
trying to get hurt. It's millions of dollars on the line.
Right.
So it's good that you're doing a kind of a very
as I'm getting
active
old,
warm-up.
I see my main sets getting smaller and smaller, and my warm-ups getting longer and longer.
Your routine is
it's definitely changing, because the warm-up is now like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the actual workout is maybe like also 20 minutes. And so but it used to be like, oh, 5 minutes, I'm warmed up. Like, let's go. And now it's like, well, I really need like more warm up, more stretch. And then I'll do like a smaller main set and be done.
I think that's smarter. Like as you get older, you have
Yeah.
to warm up more. That just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like if you're young, I mean, yeah, if you're a kid, teenager, you can do whatever the hell you want, you
Right.
know, and you'll be fine. The recovery is just so much faster when you're younger. So if you want to do sports for a lifetime, you know, you have to adapt and listen to your body and change your routine.
Yeah.
You know, they're like we're different cells every 7 years, you know.
That's
so,
what they say, yeah.
So you need to
Adapt accordingly.
Adapt,
Yeah.
adapt accordingly for sure.
So what are do you have any fitness philosophies that you go by? Because I'll give you an example. Last night or 2 nights ago, I went and had lunch, or 2 days ago, I had lunch with Ryan, who teaches also rocket yoga at Workshop.
Yeah.
And Ryan heard that I was doing archery, and immediately his first thing that he asked me, do you shoot with the other side? Like
yeah, for muscle
immediately
balance, yeah.
he was like, if you are pulling a 65-pound bow on one side, what are you doing on the other side? Immediately. And you said the same thing. Like you were like,
Did I?
You know, well, you immediately also said, hey, if you're training the front, you should train the back. It seems
yeah.
like this yoga thing, everyone's like, you have to have balance.
Yeah.
So what are your like fitness, I guess, philosophies?
I guess basically like if you're doing archery with your right hand, you can also just supplement with doing more single hand rows with the left hand to compensate.
Yeah.
But in general, like even if you like there's studies like if you only work out your right bicep, your left bicep's going to grow like 20%, 20 to 30%.
Even without it.
Yeah, it's just like the way that the brain and muscles are wired.
Really?
Yeah, you can look this
That's
up.
awesome.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's going to be growth happening on both sides regardless. But
just not as much.
Just not as much, yeah.
Yeah.
So if what you can do is kind of offset that a little bit. But I think my philosophy in general is like having balance is important. Otherwise, like especially in yoga, like if you do one movement kind of crooked or wrong once, that's fine. But then if you develop a habit that's like creates long-term structural changes in like your body, your muscle balance and everything. So like I would say do more of a variety of exercises and things too, and to balance everything out, and do single arm, single leg exercises. Super important.
Yeah.
Like don't just do, like if you're gonna do two-handed rows, do one-handed rows.
Yeah.
If you're doing
interesting.
dumbbell incline press, do alternate one hand.
Yeah.
As well, because that will help you balance out like a lot, like the left and the right. And
that's something that you live by. It's something that you do.
Yeah, I find that works really well. If you do single leg, do lunges, do pistol squats, that kind of stuff too. In general, you feel more balance and more like the muscles coordinated, better coordination in general. Like I think as you get older, you kind of feel everything more. When you're young, like you telling a kid, hey, you got to use this. They don't feel. They have no idea, right? They're like a 12-year-old. They're just using everything that they can. There's no like separation of this from this from this, right? But as you get older, I feel like we, for the most part, get more aware of what's aching, what's sore. Maybe I feel here. This feels a little different on this side today. So it's it's good to like we can take advantage of that awareness and train.
There's got to be
smart.
something about that. Like as you grow older, you have more of a mind-body connection because you have that many more years.
You've done that many more reps.
Yeah.
Like the neurons, like your mind muscle,
clear.
has fired that many more more times,
Right.
right? So
Has to.
it's just like, oh, I know this.
Yeah.
I know what this feels like.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what it's not supposed to feel like,
Right.
you know? And for me, like I used to have anterior pelvic tilt.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I never noticed it when I was young, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like we be,
Just
you
always
know,
sticking
in
your
high
butt out?
school stick my butt out like people, and like I realized I had no power in my glutes.
Okay.
Like my glutes were not firing. It's
Right.
like called like gluteal amnesia. Yeah, so when I was running, like I don't know, in middle school, like you always got to run the mile. Like
Yeah.
it's like the dumbest thing. Like
It's not dumb. That makes sense to me.
no, I mean it makes sense. Like you got to run, but it's like, all right, we're gonna time your mile.
Yeah.
And see if you've improved. But it's like, why don't you teach us like correct running form, how to breathe, how to warm up before the run, how to like engage fire your glutes, make sure there's no like.
There's none of that.
There's none of that.
Yeah.
And when I used to run, I would get like pain in my lower back because when your butt is sticking out, butt is sticking out, like the center of your weight is kind of like in that low back area, rather than when you tilt your pelvis in, you're firing from your glutes and your core is engaged, and you know things are good. But yeah, that was never pointed out to me, and like my fastest mile was 7:13, which is not fast at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, I don't think I'm built to be an athlete.
Right.
So that's why like I didn't do a lot of sports and stuff
when you were a kid.
High school. Yeah. High school or college. So I'm just like, I'm slow. If I can't run, what am I going to do? Play ping pong? Which I was pretty good at actually, because I didn't have to run like, forward. Like I didn't have to sprint or anything. But in general, I didn't realize that until after doing yoga. And I would get more lower back pain.
Really?
Because
you were doing the back bends or from something else?
Back bends, but when you have anterior pelvic tilt, it makes it like worse because if your glutes aren't firing, like imagine you're in like a half wheel.
Yeah.
But if your glutes aren't firing, it's like all the tension's in your low back.
Oh, that's right. Correct. Yes.
And then like you're trying to go deeper and deeper, so it's all just compressing your lower
spine.
back.
Yeah.
Feels like. I would wake up. I would have to get a Chinese like a massage.
Yeah.
You know, like Chinese massage, like shifu, like pressing the low back every like 2 or 3 days. You know?
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But I didn't. No, but I thought the issue was, I gotta relax. I gotta stretch more. That's not the issue. You gotta strengthen your glutes. You gotta Makes sense. Open your hip flexor. You gotta do some exercises to balance the body. You know.
I'll be honest. Yoga teachers don't teach that. Most people don't teach that.
Yeah, they don't. It's because it's like unless you have that issue, it's like you don't really you don't spot it in other people unless you've dealt with it.
Right. That's a problem. I feel like that's the thing. Like I think there's so much to learn in fitness right now.
Oh, so much.
And no one's got like a full picture. Everyone's got like their piece of the picture. Yeah. And it's hard to find. You don't know what coaches are good anymore. Yeah. You're just kind of like, well, you know, he knows a little bit. That guy knows a little bit. There's no set path, and I don't think there should be, right? But like, everyone's kind of only getting a small piece of the picture, and then it's very easy for an inexperienced coach to kind of lie to you. That's how I see it. Yeah. You know, I've seen it in China a lot, where coaches are there to they see you as a money, like a wallet.
Right.
Trying
to sell you.
Yeah. My biggest example is, and I see it everywhere, where they're doing the pull-up machine. The client's on the pull-up machine.
Assisted?
Yeah, the assisted pull-up machine. And the coach is helping them up. Yeah. Right? And originally, that happens everywhere. And originally, I didn't think a lot about it. But I realized that the client can't do that on his own. He's going to be like, well, I can do 7 when the coach is with me. I can only do 5 alone. And then he's going to depend more on the coach. Because I've heard that story. They're like, my coach is so good that when I go with him, I can do 7. And I'm like, you sure he's not just helping you? Like what is this? And they get so emotionally or mentally dependent on their coach, they can't leave that coach.
Right.
And I'm just like, you're to me, your coach should give you just enough so you can go out on your own and do it on your own. But that is not how a lot of coaches see them. A lot of coaches are like, this is my money. I need them coming back to me all the time.
Right. They always want to, what you're saying, like they almost want the client to be kind of dependent on them so they won't leave.
And so they really budget out how much they teach each class. And I'm like, this is wrong. It feels wrong, you know? And I see that a lot more. But it's because there's a lack of education somewhere. There's a cut of education. Even when we were kids, there's like a lack of education when you're a kid in fitness.
Yeah, like when we were kids, like you would just try to do the main. I'm just trying to bench as much as I can.
Yeah. That was it.
It wasn't like
my coach never taught me form, how to bench.
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, just keep up putting on more weight. And when you're 15, that works, you know. And when you're 15, you're like you're pissing like testosterone every day.
Yeah.
You're making gains no matter what. But at some point, you gotta be like, well, I'm not benching correctly. I'm still not benching correctly.
Really?
Yeah. You know, I don't think I pull my scapula in as much as I should.
You gotta feel almost like your lats are kind of working.
I don't do that.
You don't
like
do
I
that?
just
Okay.
I kind of lie kind of flat. I don't have any arch, and I just push flat off that bench. And everyone's like, dude, if you want to put more weight on, you're gonna have to like, you know, get everything tight. And I'm like, I don't drive with my legs. You know, people were telling me, oh, you got a leg drive when you bench. I'm like, I don't bench with my legs. And they're like, no, you gotta arch your back and leg. I'm like, but I don't bench heavy.
No, but I mean that's for if you're trying to, depends on, you know, like you said, your goals. If you're trying to power lift as much as you can, you got to do the arch, press down through the feet.
Yeah.
You got to drive through the heels and then
I don't do any of that.
Push off, you know.
Yeah.
But if you're just trying to go for hypertrophy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's more about you should still kind of arch your back to get the pecs more involved. But if you're just doing it for overall, just trying to work, you know, your serratus anterior, your pecs, your triceps, your shoulders, then you can just do what you're doing flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but in general, to teach correct form,
it's so important.
It takes time, right? And so most of the time, maybe coaches want the client to feel like they're making progress and results before they, like if you go to like a powerlifting instructor, you're not doing heavy weight for a long time. You're just working with just the bar until you get the form down perfect, you know?
And people aren't willing to do that anymore.
Yes, it's a matter of patience, and they want to see some sort of results within the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And that way they're going to renew, you know,
Correct.
their card and whatnot. So, but I think once you develop that relationship with the coach, then the coach will be like, hey, for an hour today, we're not going to do that much. We're just going to get the form down.
Right.
Because you trust that guy, right? You're like, and I'm paying for something that's going to work, right? Like,
but that's not measurable. That's the big issue to me, right? I think a lot of people want something measurable. They want to see more weight on the bar, more weight than last week. Better form is not measurable. It's not like a number, you know?
Mobility is like the range of motion. Like that's actually technically more like that's progress. Like the deeper you can go on a lunge, the harder it is because
absolutely
the muscle's being stretched that much longer. So for it to fire, it takes that much more coordination, energy, everything for you to do it correctly.
Correct.
So I mean, you can ask any personal training coach. There's many variables to fitness. It's not just how much weight you're putting on. It's the rest intervals in between. It's the, what do you call it? Like the range of motion. Yeah. It's the speed that you're doing the reps in. There's like there's
time and retention.
Time and retention. There's many factors to see improvement, but the easiest metric for most beginners to understand is weight.
Correct.
It's like I mean, people, it's almost like the easiest thing in a KPI thing to kind of understand, you know? So that's why I think in the beginning when, you know, people are getting training, they're like, oh, I can go a little heavier. I think this is working, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
But doesn't that bother you? Like that bothers me. You know, I'm trying to be like, look, you shouldn't learn this way. I'll give you a good example. I'm teaching Echo freestyle.
Okay.
How to swim freestyle.
Yeah.
And the way I coach swimming or for freestyle is body positioning above everything else. I don't care about the arms. I don't really care about the legs. If you can float on your side and switch back and forth, the arms and legs come naturally.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about arms and legs or breathing at all. But just know where your sweet spot is when you float on either side. And then you kind of add in the kick, and then you're kicking like this, and then you can add in the arms, and then you add in, and if you're going this, you can already basically breathe because you're already on that long axis.
So you're turning your
body.
Your body.
Yeah.
Like rotating.
Yeah. That's all I want them to do.
You're breaking it down, like really.
Yeah. But most coaches don't teach that because they're like, oh, I just want them to go. And so they teach them flat freestyle.
Yeah.
But then once you get to the breathing, they have to kind of learn that rotation anyways. And it's like breaking that, then you have to go backwards to go forwards again. But if you start with the rotation and the long axis kind of movement, there's no problems. Right. However, that takes so much more time, and most people aren't willing to do it.
I mean, how do they teach kids?
They teach. Kids are easy. You just throw them in the water and they kind of learn it. You know.
Okay, but they don't do this thing.
They don't start off like that. No.
Okay.
And in fact, most kids learn it wrong, and they have to fix it.
Yeah. So I think that's the same thing with the fitness thing.
Yeah.
Like first, you have to instill some confidence that they're able to do it. They're able to do something, and they're getting some progress. Because like the main thing making a little bit progress but being consistent is more important than hey, we're gonna do something really hard, you're not gonna stick with it. It's like saying same thing with dieting. Like, hey, it's gonna be this super well managed diet down to every calorie. It's like, okay, well, only stick to it. It's a diet for a week. Yeah. It's not manageable, you know?
Correct.
So I think in general, like especially for girls, most PTs, like, you're training girls, right? For the most part, as the majority of clients, they need that kind of like, hey, 加油, boost, you're doing great kind of thing. They're not guys like us. Like, I'm not saying all girls like this, you know, by the way, but I'm saying like a guy you can explain, hey, we're going to do this like an engineer. If you were giving PT to an engineer, I would break everything down, correct form, everything. But it's really dependent on the kind of client, right? But if they're more like they're not kind of a detailed engineer kind of mindset, they don't know anything about how to move their body, no body awareness, it's like, okay, well, we gotta just start with something that they can actually stick to and they want to come back to.
I got you.
So that's what I personally
that makes sense
think.
Echo's stuck with me, so like so she has to learn it my way. And so I think I'm teaching it the correct way.
Yeah.
Like there's no moving backwards. They're only moving forwards. But that first movement thing is going to take 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see you're barely going to see improvement that 3 or 4 weeks. But once you get that, everything else comes easy.
Yeah.
And
I think it's also how good is your delayed gratification kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, hey, I want to be able to swim in a week, it's like
this is not gonna work. Yeah.
But if you're good with delayed gratification and they understand why you're teaching them that way, then I mean, for sure it's better.
But I think most people are not okay with delayed gratification these days. Like everyone wants it now. Right. And exponential growth in the future. And not like we're gonna plateau for like the first, we're only working with the bar. That doesn't fly anymore. In most cases, I think that doesn't fly anymore.
That doesn't fly. Like how many? I mean, even in gyms, like using the dowel, like just to get used to range of motion, shoulder mobility. It's like people skip that, and whatnot.
So how do you get people to do it? Like that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what do you do with your clients to be like, no, this is what we're gonna do for a little bit? Do you?
I do, yeah. So in the beginning, like we're doing, it's different for every client, right? Based on what they're able to do. But yeah, every once in a while, I'll be like, today we're just, you've been training a lot this week. We're gonna kind of wind back, just focus on more on technique. But I'm sure that's the same thing with lots of sports. Sometimes you're doing conditioning.
Yeah.
And other times you got to kind of tone it back to work on technique. Other times you're doing kind of recovery. Did you watch that quarterback documentary on Netflix? Okay, are you into football?
No.
Okay.
But what's it about? Tell me.
Just the NFL quarterbacks, and it's like the produced by Peyton Manning, and they're going into the series like featuring following 3 quarterbacks around, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins,
I don't know any of these guys. I know
Mahomes.
Yeah.
But Mahomes' training was like super interesting.
Okay.
Because well, first of all, he's got like the best trainer, right? And they got some crazy equipment. It looks sick. But but he'll train like 3 times a week, kind of like strength training. And during the season, like the first day, so after the game, right? Then you rest the day, and then the first day back training, it'll be more about like mobility, like just making sure everything's working properly. You're doing everything with full range of motion. You're doing like the muscles that are firing, everything's working, right? Kind of a recovery day. Second day, they're doing more strength heavy, right? Like with weights and stuff.
Yeah.
And
because you've rested 2 days already, basically.
Yeah. And then the last day, they're doing like full explosive, like as fast as you can. You're doing everything like
tough.
Yeah, so that you're ready for game day, right? But it's systematized.
Yeah.
To where you're doing you're letting the body recover, getting the full range of motion first. Step 1. Step 2, resistance training, getting the muscles to be strong, everything. And then step 3, explosive power, and doing all the movements that you need to do at your best ability.
Right.
Like that makes sense, right?
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Explosive training after a day of heavy lifting must be brutal.
No, I mean, it's spaced out over a week, right? I'm saying day 1, day 2, day 3. So it's not all like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
But still, that must be brutal. That must be really hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, definitely. But I was like, oh, wow. They're like, the training matches their football schedule, and it's all like
planned out. Yeah.
They have a method,
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I wish more people would do that here. I wish people would try to figure that out in their individual sports as they're doing it.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think it's really hard for people to understand that kind of programming because, I mean, I had that when I was a kid, right? But I didn't get that. I didn't understand that programming until I was 18, 19, when my coach was explaining like, oh no, you have a meet tomorrow. We're kind of taking it easy on Friday. Things like that. Like I didn't understand that until like way late.
Yeah.
Because as your kid, you're just like, oh, I come to practice. I just do what the coach tells me to do. I don't really run any of that through my head.
Like why?
Yeah, why? And then all of a sudden, like my coach was explaining it to us. He was like, no, we're going through hell week for this week. And then we're going to taper next week and then get you ready for the meet coming up. And I was like, oh.
Oh, periodizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was periodizing your work. So you'd be at your best.
Yeah.
Right before.
So you would have maybe 3 weeks of like hard, nonstop training, and then slowly taper it off the last week and a half, and then you're great to go for like the next meet.
Yeah.
And we would do a lot of that stuff, and I never understood it until I was way older. But like that stuff's important. Like even in any of the sports I'm doing now, like I still think about that stuff.
Really?
Like if I'm gonna go compete in BJJ, I'm not training hard like the last week. I'm taking it as easy as possible.
Yeah. Your body can't fire.
No.
It's just not built. You're not like a robot. You're not able to fire 100% all the time.
Yep.
No matter how much you want to.
Yeah.
Like train hard.
Because a lot of the people here I see, like before the last BJJ meet that just happened in Shanghai, they were training hard that last week, and I was like, dude. This week you should be basically just stretching and drilling. Like to me, that's how I would coach them. I'd be like, this week should be just stretching and drilling. Just get the motions right and smooth and just stretch a lot.
Okay, yeah.
But a lot of
Practice your
people-
game plan,
yeah.
do some technique.
Do the basic game plan, go through whatever you think you're gonna do, but like no hard sparring at all. Like you should not be like pushing it hard. Just take it easy. And no, you see the guys at most of the gyms, they were like getting ready for the meet, getting ready for competition, gotta roll hard. I'm like, oh, maybe not.
I think that's just adrenaline and hormones
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Like, but as you get older, you kind of understand why you need to.
Yeah. And you lose testosterone, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
need to work that hard. Like,
Yeah, because I think if you're doing anything really intense the night before, 2 nights before, like everything's still, very excited.
Yeah.
At some point, you can't sustain that, and your
It's gotta
mind
drop.
and body is gonna drop,
Yeah.
right? You don't want it to drop right before you need to do something very important.
yeah.
Which is actually why, like, even like before I have to teach classes, before I have to do something, I like to do something active to kind of get everything going.
into the mood.
Like I biked here today. I
Yeah.
don't want to take a cab, just to get into the mood, because your body, like after you rest, you don't feel like doing anything.
Right.
Like in the morning, you don't feel like getting up, but after you get up and move around, everything feels better. You have to kind of maintain this machine.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't just feel motivated,
Right.
like
So what do you do for like, warm up? What do you do for recovery? Because I think that's a big part of what's missing right now. Like, is there anything that you really recommend people do?
are you talking about for strength training, or what are you talking about for
Just in
before
general.
what? Warm up for sports?
Yeah, sure, for sports.
So if I'm doing warm up for like the main sport I'm doing now is
Paddle.
playing paddle a
Yeah.
lot. So I'll warm up my ankle, my hamstrings.
You do very sports specific
Specific.
warm ups.
Yeah.
I
I
got
do
you.
sports
I see.
specific. Yeah, because I feel like, for me
That makes
that makes
sense.
more sense now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas if I'm doing like strength training kind of stuff, I'll warm up accordingly to what I need to do for the day. If I'm doing a lot of like if I'm doing back, like a back day,
Yeah.
I'll kind of do some external rotations with the shoulders, some face pulls. I'll do some of that.
That's probably really smart. I don't
Yeah.
do that at all.
Some YWTs,
Yeah.
some kind of smaller, like they're not like heavy lifts, but they're just trying to get the muscles to fire correctly, and then
Right.
I'll go into the workout. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't do that at all. Like I warm up to get into a sweat, and then I don't warm up. I just do whatever I feel like doing, like jumping jacks, just to
Yeah.
get the blood pumping, and then I pick 3 things, like whether it be high knees, just pick some
Yeah.
things that just get the blood pumping, and then I don't even think.
I think
about my
that's
workout.
fun. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I
Right.
think that's like a fun way to like work out, and you like want to do it. You
Yeah.
know, you're like, hey, I'm gonna pick 3 things out today.
Right.
You know,
I
like
just do those for 9-10 minutes, 20 minutes, and that's just a couple of movements to get going.
bro, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel better, feel good, puts you in the mood
Yeah.
to work out. I think the most important thing is just do something that works for you to put you in the mood to go attack that workout.
But you are like sports specific. You're like, this is what I'm doing next. These are the muscles that need to fire. So this is what I'm going to warm up with.
Yeah, I mean, for me right now, like when I go to the weight room, I'm doing more hypertrophy training.
Right.
So I'll specifically warm up those muscles before, because there's also a concept called like pre-exhaustion. I don't know.
I don't know.
You've heard, like this actually worked for me a lot when like I couldn't figure out how to get my glutes to fire.
Yeah.
Like you need to do something that where you feel sore.
Okay.
Like you feel that muscle, like you really feel it. Like I'll do some like hip thrusts, some other I'll hold until it's really sore,
I hate that movement.
and then so it's sore, right?
Yeah.
And then you do lunges, squats, whatever other exercises, and you're like, ooh, I feel that soreness. You're like, that's good. That means I'm using
That does
this
make
muscle.
sense.
And then
That makes a lot of sense.
you do the workout.
Yeah.
And then those muscles are pre-exhausted, so they're firing even more, and you're getting that kind of development. You're kind of getting that stimulation.
Yeah.
It's all about stimulation, yeah,
Right.
to the muscle group. Yeah.
Sure. I've never thought of it that way, but that makes a
Muscle
lot of sense.
stimulation,
Yeah.
And then yoga. Right now, I'm doing less yoga, maybe once or twice a week, just maintaining mobility.
Right.
Because actually, the thing is like getting the mobility is hard, but afterwards to maintain it is not that difficult. But the hard part is like getting there.
Yeah.
After not being there since you were 14, 13, you know?
Yeah.
But once you're there, it's like, it's kind of like now, like you, right? You've been working out. So to maintain is easier than to build.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, I don't think I've built strength in actually a really long time.
Yeah.
You know, I've maintained, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think I've built additional like 1 rep maxes.
Yeah.
Just it doesn't fit what my lifestyle. Like I'm not gonna like overeat. Just not in my plan.
Dude, that's the hardest thing, man. Just like eat like bulking.
Yeah.
Like people make it sound like it's fun and eat. Dude, I would rather work out for 4 hours than have to eat like 5,000 calories. That just sounds miserable.
It's so hard because you're like, I'm already full, but I got to keep eating. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not natural. To be fair, I don't think
it's not natural.
But
animals, if you look at animals, like, bro, like when a fucking tiger or a lion or a puma hunts down like a fresh kill,
they overeat.
They're eating that thing in like, you know, half a day or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're just sitting on that meat, you know, for letting it digest.
They're starving for a while though. They're also not eating for like 3 more days.
That's true. But when I'm starving, I can't eat. You do fasting?
A little bit. I've only, the longest I fasted for was 48 hours. And that's
okay. Yeah. So,
unbelievable.
Yeah. But food tastes so good, bro.
So good. So good.
Like, I think, I fast like maybe once a month.
Oh, that's
right. No, right now I'm trying to like bulk weight. So I'm doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this earlier. I want one day where I'm focused on
just eating.
Yeah. Just eating. Just expanding that stomach, just eating I gotta be like one of those food eating. I gotta have the mindset of Joey Chestnut, you know?
Right.
But then one day of fasting is super good because it just detoxes everything. Like
you feel great.
Just giving your GI system a break. You are mentally sharp. You feel lighter.
I feel cranky.
A little bit cranky. Yeah.
Like I'm like, why am I not eating right now? And maybe we're addicted to food. To be honest,
we
might
are.
be because, but like I'm cranky. You know.
I usually do it on a day where I have to like travel anyways. I'm on a plane.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I don't even want to eat food.
Yeah. Correct.
It's kind of gross. So that just makes it easier, you know, when there's not. You don't want to be fasting like, hey, I'm gonna go to this mall, go to the food court, just check out what's going on in this mall.
It's a terrible
All
idea.
sorts of smells coming in. You want to be somewhere where it's like there's no immediate instant gratification food around me, you know.
Yeah.
And but man, once you get out of that fast, like you realize you can eat a lot of stuff without so much condiments.
Yeah.
Like seafood just tastes good
by itself. Seafood, yeah.
Steak is just steak without, you know, like you don't need that much salt, pepper. Yeah, exactly. Just like it makes you appreciate just the natural flavor of the food so much more.
I was arguing with a friend recently. They were like, do you think food tastes better now or like before? And like there's that saying that, you know, like blueberries, you know, 50 years before tasted better than they do now. I don't know if I agree. He says
there's that saying. Is this a Chinese saying or
no, I think it's like I know that food before is healthier, supposedly, because we've slowly, I guess, picked and selected for more sweetness, but not necessarily for health. And they were like, well, I don't think, my friend was saying that food before tasted better. And I was saying, I think that food has always kind of tasted the same, but your ability to like, you know, or your need for sugar has slowly gone up.
Oh.
And so actually food probably tastes the same as before, but like you've just become more addicted to sugar. That was my take.
That makes sense. But What if you don't eat sugary things?
I don't know.
Do you eat a lot of sugar?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, if I could have my way, and I eat like this, just fruit and meat. That's my entire diet.
Carnivore diet.
With fruit.
With fruit.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, whatever.
But
I hate like naming diets.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's too like it's like, oh, so you're pesco
Get out of
paleo.
here. Yeah. But I enjoy like peaches, whatever. Just whatever's in season now, I'll eat. And I'll eat.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Like I had some peaches in season.
Yeah.
In season peaches, so sweet,
so delicious,
so good.
Yeah.
But I think that's how people should be eating. But I mean, it's not convenient to. It's just a lot more convenient to just eat things that are. I mean, everything's pretty much in season 24/7.
Correct.
It's imported now.
Yeah, everything's imported.
So how do you even know what is in season?
You can kind of ask the locals. Like,
okay.
Shanghainese people know that Yang were just in season.
Yeah.
Now, around late, I guess early August is usually peach season. Or like late July is peach season.
Yeah.
And then before that is Yang season. And I usually ask the locals.
I only know that like 大家蟹 is like in season in September. That's the only season I know.
It's my favorite season.
For some stuff. But that's interesting. Like if they could make like I don't want to call it a diet, but eating lifestyle just based on whatever's in season. I mean, that's how we've always eaten, based on growing our own food, right?
Yeah.
But now that we're not growing, it's like
so
we don't even know.
Touch.
We don't even know what's in season and what's out of season.
Right.
But I think that also ensures you eat a variety of foods, which is very important for your gut biome.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Do you do that? Or you because I know a lot of quote health conscious people that are just like, well, no, I just eat chicken and rice every day. And I'm like, that's probably not great for you.
I don't eat chicken and rice every day because I find, chicken breast terrible, intolerable.
Yeah, me too.
But I do eat a variety of. I eat out a lot. Why might I eat out? But it's usually like seafood.
I love it.
Beef, lamb, whatever's, around around where I live, because I'm not one of those people that can eat the same thing every day.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
I get kind of sick of it,
Me too.
But I respect those people that have the discipline to.
I can't.
Just munch it down.
I don't know if it's healthy. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you can eat chicken rice like for an entire year, I don't know if that's healthy for you. Like.
I'm curious. Yeah, like
unless they're supplementing, maybe they're supplementing all the rest of their vitamins. Then maybe
AG1.
Yeah,
Athletic greens.
Yeah,
I don't. Do you believe in that stuff? Like, is there athletic greens?
I don't.
In China,
there is. I've tried a couple of them, and they never sit well in my stomach, so I gave up on them.
I mean, yeah, they say it's always better to eat your vegetables, right?
Yeah.
In general, rather than
it's better to eat your calories than to drink your calories.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
It's something about the saliva and actually pre-digestion is super valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know the research on that, but that's what I've heard. Just chewing your food more is supposed to be better for you.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
All right.
It sounds good though.
End of the podcast. Tell everyone what you think that I guess for the basic newbie into fitness, what they should be doing.
I think if you're new to fitness, you should be doing strength and conditioning 2 to 3 times a week. Depends on how your schedule is.
Yeah.
If you're doing 2 times a week, you need to be doing like upper lower same day. Like you got to do like a basic split program would be like one day you're doing back and legs, but more oriented on hamstrings and glutes. And then the other day you would do more push kind of exercises. You could do shoulders, chest, and like legs, but more quad focused.
So the front of the body.
Front of the body.
Yeah.
And then, so that's if you're doing like a 2-day program. And then maybe like if you have time another day of the week, do some sports or do some cardio or do something fun. Like now the weather's nice, get outdoors.
Yeah, I like that.
Like we gotta be like working out, based on, just like with the food, right? It's got to be seasonal, man.
Yeah, I get
In
you.
the wintertime, if you want to bulk. You know, weather is shitty. Go hit the gym 4 times a week if you want. You know, find an indoor hobby.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, rock climbing, perfect.
I'm with you.
It's bad weather. Find something you can do consistently. You can't be like, oh, the weather's not. You don't want to be doing like, hey, I'm gonna start doing soccer in the wintertime.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Good luck finding friends to do that with you, by the way.
Yeah, that's something you need. You need people to do with, right? Yeah. And then maybe in the springtime, you know, as it's getting a little warmer,
Get outside.
Get outside a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, once a week during the daytime. Get that vitamin D, and you can do, you know, work out like 3 times a week. Maybe summertime, you're just trying to cut, maintain.
Yeah.
Like your body's got to go through kind of a seasonal change too, you know, based on the season. So summertime, perfect for, you know, cutting. Like I'm doing outdoor sports a lot. I'm just losing weight like crazy. I got to drink enough electrolytes and water just to maintain.
Right.
But summertime, maintain your strength. And you'll probably even lose some strength, honestly, if you're doing a lot of outdoor sports. And then try to do as much outdoor sports as you can.
Yeah.
In a group setting, too. It's so good for you.
I love that. Because
so good for you. So, like you asked earlier what the trend is, I think the trend is more social oriented kind of fitness and well-being. And when it's fall again, you know, start going for hypertrophy, trying to get some gains, and also, you know, fall here is what the weather's pretty good in the fall actually too here.
It's awesome. It's nice out.
Yeah, it's nice out as well, you know.
Wait for once it gets to winter though. We only have fall for like a month.
Yeah,
let's be real. Like I think fall is like October, and then that's it, and then it just gets cold.
Yeah, it gets so cold, man.
Yeah.
Like
so cold, so wet, and then you're just like, this is gross out. I don't want to be outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the winter time, like, do you, like they say, like, yeah, winter time is the best time to bulk. Do you get more appetite in the winter time personally, or?
It's weird. I'm actually the reverse of everybody else.
Okay.
Because swimming was always in the winter, which is when we worked the hardest.
Yeah.
So I actually end up working extra hard during the winter for no reason. Like I'm actually the most fit in the winter, and then kind of slobby in the summer. I kind of like that. Yeah, it's the exact reverse. You're kind of offsetting what everyone else is doing. Like that's a good dude. That's you might be onto something. I'm just gonna be on my own season. Yeah. Like it's like, hey, you're so jacked. Did you just come from Australia? Nope. It's like, no, it's still winter here, but I'm just training my hardest here at the end of the year. Knock out these end of the year resolutions, you know. You're the leanest guy during the winter. That's and then in the summer, like I just go out and eat. I'm telling you, I'm so happy. I like it. Yeah, I love it because you're very European. It sounds like. Oh yeah, is that what's going on? Spanish people, like I guess they like August. They just take the month off and they just go around, travel, eat. Yeah. Enjoy the weather, and that's perfect. Be with friends. Be with friends. Enjoy the weather. You know, like I mean. Yeah, life is not all about just, you know, working out and doing 100%. It's super nice, but also, man, good food. What's the purpose of good food? Yeah, just be with friends. Be with people. Yeah. Enjoy the food. Enjoy what you're eating. You don't have to stick to any crazy diet in the summertime, which makes sense too, because in the summertime, I mean that's when everyone's out. Everyone's out. Everyone's trying to have fun. That's usually when I'm like kind of gross. Yeah. And then in the winter, when no one comes out, I'm like, I'm in the gym hard. I'm in the zone. Yeah, I'm in the zone. You're zoned in. Yeah. You're zoned in. Yeah, that's my time. And then I blame swimming. I really do. Like swimming was a winter sport, so usually we're working hardest during the winter. And in the summer, like long course is like kind of winter's relaxed. Winter is a swimming sport. Yeah, which is why I couldn't do wrestling when I was a kid. I see. Winter, because I know wrestling's a winter sport. Yeah. But who's the guy that decided? I have no idea. I have no idea. Like it should be a summer sport. NCAA, or I mean not NCAA, but like the high school collegiate program is like, we're gonna split sports into 3 seasons. There is no summer sport, right? Because all the kids are off, right? Correct. You just do it wherever you want, which makes sense. Yeah. Because we're still in that zone now of summertime.
be out, hang out with friends, because we've almost been adapted to that since we're kids, right?
Yep.
So
It's a society thing.
it's a rhythm, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a rhythm of seasons. So your training should kind of
Reflect that. Yeah.
Reflect that. And just make sure you get a good coach. You're training with people that, make you feel confident and empowered. And it's more about feeling good and, training smart, maintaining your mobility, and think about the long term.
That's what I think too.
Health it's like an investment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think about that quick cash.
Yeah.
Think about, let those gains compound.
Uh-huh.
You want to be doing it for longer,
as long as possible,
as long as you can, to enjoy the true benefits of being strong and healthy.
Yeah. You're keeping up with this the yoga thing every weekend?
So right now I think they're gonna remodel the hotel, but I think I'll do something else. I'm trying to figure it out right now.
All right.
But right now I'm doing I'll keep you informed.
Okay.
Some yoga events. There's gonna be like a man-made beach on like North Blind.
Okay, cool.
I'll hit you up later.
Sounds good.
Come back.
All right. Everyone, I guess if you want to know what's up with Andrew, he has a group. We can figure it out.
You can find me on Redbook. Andrew Yujia. You can find me. Yeah.
It's called Andrew Yujia on Little Red Book.
It used to be Andrew
Wang.
Oh yeah, Andrew Wang. It used to be Andrew Yujia.
Okay.
Yes.
Yujia. I will put whatever it is in the description and go check him out on Little Red Book. All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Yeah.
Enjoy the sun. Enjoy the weather.
Cool. You're great at this.
Do, 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 do.